Hello, Lucas Nation fans, and welcome back to another exciting Lucas Chat podcast, season 6, with your host Kennedy Lucas. Of course, we have a good one for you guys today. Hopefully, you guys are ready for a brand new podcast show here today, guys. Here in Host Stream Studios, we like to present this to Host Stream Studios. Of course, every Lucas Nation fans, you guys know how we develop in Lucas Chat podcast with Host Stream Studios. Of course, we got a good one for you guys today. Of course, tune in for this weekend as Tires. We'll talk about more news for the show. Of course, it's just I'm flying solo here on this podcast today. Of course, as you guys noticed, by time the weekend travels, we're not really too sure when we're gonna release weekend vlog or Lucas Chat podcast first. But in weekend vlog, we talked about the number one hit anime. Of course, we really don't rank number 1, number 2, number 3 anymore, because that's what we used to do, and we're doing podcasts on all 3 of the animes for this month. But the one that made it on the first chart list here today, of course, is Castletown Dandelion. Of course, this podcast was brought to you by, again, Host Stream Studios and K.L.P Entertainment. Please be sure to like us on Facebook. You follow me on Instagram at Kennedy Lucas KLP. My Facebook at K.L.P Kennedy Lucas, and of course on Facebook for K.L.P Entertainment's page, K.L.P Photography, and all other social media accounts in the link description below. We want to welcome all people who's watching or listening to us live radio here on SoundCloud.com/KLP Entertainment. And if you guys are seeing this on YouTube in Daily Motion, please enjoy the trailer of the hit show Castletown Dandelion. Of course, this is one of the animes that I look forward to finally review. Of course, all over December and Christmas break, I was watching some of the episodes from the series. We just wrapped up this series a couple days ago. We had wrapped it up with the last episode. We found out who became king. A little spoiler alert for you guys before we get more detailed in Lucas Chat podcast. If you haven't seen the show yet, I would advise you to go watch the series first and then come back to this podcast, of course, because there's going to be some spoiler alerts. We found out who is the next king. I will share with you who is the next king later on in today's podcast. Of course, we're going to be doing some reviews. We're just going to really dissect this anime. As an anime lover and anime watcher, I like to really thoroughly finish the anime series, and I can really know what I'm talking about in this thing here. So, here's the plot of the story. Of course, Castletown Dandelion. The plot is the story resolves in an all-round Shikarada, if I pronounce that name right. Of course, it's Japanese names, Sakurada family, a family of 9 superpowered siblings whose father is king of an entire country. It focuses on Akane, of course, the 4th eldest child. The main, all of them are kind of, they're all kind of like the main star, but of course Akane is like the face of the poster and the character with the red hair, of course, who's extremely shy. However, the actions of her and her siblings are constantly being recorded and broadcasted on TV, allowing the citizens to choose which one to elect as the next king. Of course, we have Akane, again, the main character, played by Brian April. Of course, Brian April is a very tremendously fantastic voice actor. She is one of the voice actors that have the sweet voice. Of course, she is in the new season, of course, of Show by Rock season 2. So give her props, because she's sort of doing that dual voice acting, and she's really high pitched with her voice. Now, Akane is actually one of my favorite characters. Of course, the character with the red hair. Now, her ability allows her to fly. She's a little bit shy. Of course, if you guys know, again, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen this anime series yet, she can fly. Of course, she's very shy, so every time a security camera will come up in her face, she'll get really shy and hide behind her other siblings. Now, it's kind of cute, like, hey, she has a fan club at her school, and, she's just, the ability they're calling it in the story is called Gravity Core. So, again, it allows her to fly. Well, they say in theory, like she loses. I read somewhere that she loses weight and she's able to float everywhere. But again, flying. Um, the next character, Aoi. Aoi is the blue-haired sibling, of course, played by Tia Ballard. Tia Ballard is a phenomenal voice actor too. She also, I don't know them personally, but the voice acting from Sky Wizards Academy and of course Little Busters, she plays Kamikita. So the girl with the blonde hair. Of course, her ability is very cool. Now it's called Absolute Order. She orders. Just by looking at the citizens or looking at someone, she can command them to do whatever she wants. Just by looking and say, "Hey, could you do this?" Because that's her ability. And then, of course, whoever she asks, they'll do it. Of course, Shu. Shu is the one with the black hair, and I'm saying their first name because they all have this last name. Hence, that they're all siblings. So I'm not gonna say the whole full name because they all have the same name of Sakura. Of course, Shu, played by Rico Fajardo, if I pronounce the last name right. Of course, he's a good voice actor too. I can't really name off the bat what shows he's played at the moment, but his ability is transport. It's called Transporter. Of course, he can teleport between area to area in an instant. Of course, there's a little bit of backstory between Shu and Kanade. Of course, Kanade is another character. She's also the sibling with the black hair, of course. Her ability allows her. Let me make sure. I'm just making sure that I had. Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure I had the right characters. Of course, her ability is called Heaven's Gate. Her ability allows her to create objects using material within a certain area. This allows her to have a budget. So she has to pay for the material she makes out of her own money. So I think her ability kind of sucks because it's like you can create anything you want, but it comes out of your pocket. It comes out of your wallet. So when I saw the series and she performed her power in the show, I was a little bit like, what? You have to, like, you can have anything, you build anything you want, but you have to, it's coming out of your money. I think that's one of the suckiest abilities you could have in this character, but it's funny. It's funny. Now, there's a bit of a story with Akane, Kanade, and Shu. They were younger, and Kanade had built Akane a castle. Build a big castle. She didn't care how much it was going to cost her, just built her a castle. So, of course, the castle got built. Of course, it was missing some steps. It was missing a pillar. And the castle collapsed on top of them, causing Shu to not to go into surgery with his leg. He used to be a soccer player, and now he's no longer a Major League Soccer player anymore because of his damaged leg, and he can't really run as he used to, or it hurts his leg. Of course, a little backstory for you guys. Again, this is a spoiler alert podcast, so if you haven't seen the series yet, I'm sorry, but of course, Haruka, played by Josh Garrell, of course, as I get, notifications here on podcast, played by Josh Garrell. Of course, Josh Garrell is a good voice actor. He played in so many of my favorite animes like Baka and Test. He plays Akihisa, Yoshi. He is the fifth and middle son. Of course, his ability is lots of necks. Of course, it allows him to calculate possible solutions of effortness and, just the calculating guy. Like, he can sense if something's not right. His ability is kind of cool. I wouldn't want to have that ability, but, of course, Misaki, or Misaki if I pronounce the last name right, played by voice actor Jade Saxton. Of course, Jade Saxton is a really, really phenomenal voice actor too, because she played in so many of my favorites like Haganai and Haganai Next, High School DxD. She plays shit. I can't remember character with the white hair. I can't remember her name right off the bat, but watch, it'll come to me towards the end of this podcast. Her ability is all for one, so it allows her to multiply herself into 7 times. Now, this is one of the best abilities in this anime series that I wish I had. Like, I wish I could make 7 of me, so one person can edit another show, another person can go to class for me, you know, another person could be on RA duty, and then I can go to bed my actual self. So I think her ability is kind of cool because you know she can go, you know, a lot. Of course, this next character, Hikari, played by Sarah Woodenheft, another good voice actor. Her ability is God's hand, so it allows her to increase or reverse the growth of living being for 24 hours. So it allows her to go for, you know, a little girl to an older girl performing. She's also, excuse me, she's also a model. Of course, also an idol model, plays alongside with another character played by Alexis Tipton. On that, of course, Alexis Tipton, she's one of my favorite voice actors, let's be honest here. So, you know, one of my favorites, and being an idol, and of course Alexis Tipton plays also in Show by Rock Season 2. The reason why I'm so hyped on the Season 2 of Show by Rock, because we're actually looking at the show right now, so that's one of the shows we're looking at as of current. Of course, Teru, played by Gian Tirado, if I pronounce that name right. Of course, you know, a female actress, voice actor, playing a guy character. Of course, he is the little boy with the brown looking hair. Of course, he's the youngest boy in this anime series. Of course, his ability is called Limit Over. Of course, it increases his strength as a superhuman level, so he gets stronger. Kind of like the Hulk, in my opinion, when I first saw this. Of course, Shiori, played by Kristen Sultan. Of course, she's a really, really good she's a good voice actor. Of course, her ability is Soulmate, so it allows her to communicate with animals and even inanimated objects. So she can talk to a book, and the book can respond. There's one episode, of course, spoiler alert for all of you Lucas Nation fans out there, that towards the end of the last episode, as we find out who was king for the series, she was talking to a blimp, and the blimp responded. So that was kind of a cool thing. She can talk to a lamp, she can talk to a pen, she can talk to paper, she can talk to a whole bunch of stuff, so it's kind of cool. Soichiro, of course, is the king. He is the father of the 9 children and the king. He cares about his family so much. He secretly hires security teams to protect his children from, you know, people outsiders, and for broadcasting people and characters into the show. Suzuki is the mother, of course. They had an episode where they showed the king and queen when they were younger, and now they're, you know, the origin of it. She's a year older than the king, but you know, she's caring for her husband, and the king, he's just really loving towards his children. It's a very nice family, if you ask me. It's very nice oriented family. I really do love how their family structure into the show is just very caring. This is one of those shows where it really got me going. It's been a while, let's be honest, Lucas Nation fans. It's been a while since we heard good, or we seen good anime, especially 2015. Again, it was a rough year for K.L.P Entertainment in general, but 2015 was a down stock of anime, so finally 2016, 2017, they're becoming better with anime, such as this anime, Castletown Dandelion. The name is unique because when this name first came across my desk, and I wanted to review this show and see it and review it and podcast over it, I was just like, okay, the name, okay, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what the show's about. Then just episodes later, I fell in love with the show. It's not, the genre of the show is not your, it's just your spice of life type of anime. Like, it's not It's not an ecchi, even though there are some fan service fan service moments. I always get jittered up when I say stuff like this because some anime freaks, not me in particular, but some anime freaks like that freaky stuff. I mean, maybe I kind of like it too a little bit, but I ain't too crazy with it. Um, so it's supernatural. It's a comedy. There was a couple episodes that was like I was just laughing. Um, so this anime is really good. Let's just I just want to bring that out for the Lucas Chat podcast. This anime is really, really good. Character development was great, and seeing how they come together and all these voice actors work together on this project, it really is astonishing for me as an anime viewer. I really do think anime in general, anime companies out there, they're really trying to fix anime a little bit. I think they're trying to become better. There's not enough anime produced in the world. I'm still waiting for Angel Beats Season 2. I don't know what they're waiting on that. Um, High School DxD, they had 3 seasons. Hopefully they have a 4th season. There's just not enough. Do I see this anime coming back as Season 2? Yeah, absolutely. If they put the mind and soul into it, yes. Most definitely, yes. They should do a Season 2. Of course, finding out who is king. Spoiler alert for all of you Lucas Nation fans out there. Shu becomes king for the show. Of course, he becomes the prominent king. Hence, due to the last episode, I'm not going to spoil it too much. Shu gets together the family to save the day. Let's just leave it at that. He becomes king. I was really thinking that Akane would become king, but she does not. Shu becomes king. So, if they were to make a season 2, I don't really know how they're gonna develop that too much. Maybe he'll get thrown off from the throne and then have somebody else come and be king. But like I say, guys, this anime is really good. Now let me give you the written and production style of things. Of course, it was produced by Humbosha. It's an anime company out there. Presented in 2016, hence 2017. They make 3 volumes from manga. Of course, directed by Naoki Akitaya, if I pronounced that last name right. Of course, the studio's production IMS, licensed by Funimation, Anime Limited, TBS, CBC, SUN, and BSTBS. Of course, English Networks is predominant for Funimation channels, so if you go to Funimation.com, or you can find it. Of course, there's 12 episodes, so it's not too long. It's not your 24. It's not your 24 type of episode for this show. Of course, there's a little description from a reviewer. He says, of course, Castletown Dandelion is definitely one of the most Western-like animes that I have ever came across. From the setting of the story to the thematic structure, it felt like director Naoki Akitaya, pronounce the last name right, and his team of production IMS had genuine genuine interest in Western culture, drawing upon that interest to adapt Castletown Dandelion from manga and to anime. The story begins with a simple but interesting premise of 9 sons and daughters of the king are in the running to be the next successor of the kingdom. At first, it takes some slight suspicions and disbelief when you question why are they holding an election now when the oldest child is barely an adult and the youngest is mere 5 years old. I don't know about you, but I'm not too terribly keen on the idea of a very young child direction of millions of lives, no matter how absolutely cute she is. And let's be honest here, she's a little sweetheart in this show. She's a sweetheart. We're talking about Shiori. Shiori's the youngest girl that's in this show. They play their characters really well because she's like the sweetheart of the anime show. Not to mention the fact that none of them have been around long enough to give you an educated assumption of what kind of leader they would end up being. really, really good description. My word for it, I say go out and go see this anime. It's 12 episodes, so if you're a avid anime watcher, it shouldn't take you that long at all. Of course, I like to space my anime out because I had to have time to do these reviews and talk about it. Again, as K.L.P Entertainment and Host Stream Studios, I'm really proud to have picked up this anime and showed it on Host Stream Studios show, and now doing a podcast over it. And we look for the future of this show. Hopefully they come back with season 2, but time you can't really tell with anime. It's a different thing, it's a different slight, it's a different doubt for this, guys. So that pretty much wraps up the Lucas Chat podcast portion this weekend of Castletown Dandelion. Thank you guys again if you're listening on radio right now for SoundCloud.com. Thank you, and subscribe. If you're watching this on the website, Dailymotion, or YouTube, or Vimeo, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you are new. Please be sure to check out all social media accounts in the link description below as well. This has been Lucas Chat Podcast, reviewing Castletown Dandelion, with your host, Kennedy Lucas, logging out.